I was going to stay out of this thing. But, I learned in school 2 words. One is an ad hominem, and the other is called a red herring. Now, we're talking about constitutional rights and privacy issues and all that, and that has nothing to do with what happened. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to open it up for a barnstorm because I know what it was. I was there at the time. There was a Christmas luncheon with the employees from 3 departments that we're having. And the council representative that's making a mountain out of this molehill.
You might as well stop right there.
Was not asked to attend
order.
that.
He's out of order.
I have the floor, sir.
You're out of order.
No.
He does have the floor.
You're out of order.
Fine.
Phil, I don't want to get into, this has been in the paper,
and we
talked about it.
No. It needs to be talked about.
This
Because
is your
it's
golf
a red
course
herring.
story?
I have the floor. Sir, you have the gavel. I have the floor.
So I can speak for a moment.
This is a red herring. This has to do with the employees didn't want to have a luncheon with this particular representative. She got mad, and we're off to the races. That's what this is all about. We're wasting a lot of valuable time on it. We need to move on. We voted. An attorney general's opinion, Mr. Sweeney, please correct me if I'm wrong, is an opinion.
It is. I don't want to ignore the Attorney General and the Attorney General's office, and I wouldn't do so lightly, but we don't have an opinion yet, and we really should wait and see what happens, and then we can decide what is the best way to ensure safety, ensure people's legitimate rights to privacy, and ensure transparency, which we can do all of if we all work together and act like adults and represent the citizens as they deserve to be represented. It can be taken care of. We can do this. We've done lots of really difficult, big projects here. This is going to be easy.
When we get this back, of course, we'd all be emailed, but can we bring it back up in a council meeting to discuss it when we get the response, since it has been so public?
Sure.
At the
work
council session after
council
that.
session? Sure.
Okay. Does anybody else have any old?
Yeah, I have the floor, sir. In the late 40s, there was a mood in this country where there was a paranoia about communists, and there was a particular senator. I believe he was from Wisconsin, I believe, and he played to that hysteria. And every time that there was political cover to be had, he would say, it's communist conspiracy, there's communists around a tree or something, and they nicknamed it after him, McCarthyism. And it destroyed a lot of lives. Some maybe was valid, some were not, as history has proven to us. I use that as an example because in today's environment, in today's climate, we have the same sort of hysteria as there was back in the late 40s in regards to transparency in government and the people in general. Unfortunately, if you look at polling information, you see that Congress is polling numbers are way low on both sides of the aisle. But there seems to be a hysteria of the same kind of a mood to compare that to is that there's distrust in government in general today. So when someone says that there's no transparency or there's backroom deals or someone's probably stealing from you or we have a dishonest politician, it's pretty easy to get people to buy into that, as it was in the late 40s to get people to buy into this other hysteria that crossed the country. We have a council representative here, Ms. Borgelt in Ward 1, that every time that there is any kind of political cover to run to, she hides behind the fact of this transparency, and they're hiding something from you, and there's something wrong going on in the government, and it's easy to buy into. And I bring that up, and I don't get involved in this stuff because, I get elected down here, and I'm in my second term, and I'm getting to the age now that I'm just down here trying to build a city and maybe make right decisions, maybe wrong decisions, trying the best I can. No malice in my heart that I know of involved in them. But so I try to stay out of this focus, and I try to stay out of this ruckus. But before this lady was elected to city council, she walked to that microphone and accused the city councilman that there was some underhanded dealing going on a piece of property that was adjacent to him, and he had to have known about it, been involved in it. There had to be something sick and sinister about it and something crooked about it. It turned out that the property wasn't there, wasn't even next to him. It turned out to be the Rot Lagoon over in Ward 4. That was a vacated lagoon. But you never heard anything after that, I made a mistake and I'm sorry I injured anybody or maligned anybody's reputation. Now, I was going to stay quiet and stay out of this focus and out of this ruckus. But now, Ms. Borgelt is produced in the Patch newspaper, and she's accused one of us up here that there was a deal for a former business partner that got $300,000 for a piece of property that was valued at $40,000. Now, doggone it, I've sit here and I've been patient. I've listened to all of this stuff about records and all this kind of good, happy malarkey. And I'm telling you, folks, it was about a Christmas party and and she didn't get invited to, and she got her feelings hurt. Now we're all hiding behind this. They're hiding stuff from you in these records. But I'm saying as politely as I can, if there is any of those kinds of things that are going on, and people will buy into that and believe it, I think you need to share it with this body. I think you need to say who it is, what piece of property it is, who owns the property. I think you owe that instead of, this wasn't just put on a blog site. This was put on a newspaper, an online newspaper. And Mr. Sweeney, I don't know what the definition of a newspaper is, but from my understanding, it's an online newspaper. And it was put on there, and it put on there by you. I think you owe this body. Either you put up this information, you let us know what the council rep is, where the property is, who owns the property, or you need to apologize and stop this nonsense. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Freeze, take one of those pass down. Take one of these pass down too, please. I'd like to challenge our council rep on the far end, Doris Borgelt. Oh, I got extra. If anyone's short, let me know. Councilman Borgelt, you said today in the paper, I quote, "I was elected by the people of my ward to represent the citizens of the city." These pictures right here are from your ward. We were elected by the citizens to represent them in certain ways. One of those ways is to move the city progressive and forward, not always look for conspiracies such as you do every day. For example, you're in Ward 1 on the north end. The north end, as we know, is struggling. Since you've been in office, what have you done to try to help that end of town? Fox campus entrance is a nightmare. It's dangerous. Once again, what have you done to try to work on that? Sidewalks in Pembroke, you know that's something I've been working on. But who does that benefit more? Ward 1 or Ward 3? It doesn't matter. It's the city. The point is, what have you done? Have you even bothered calling me? Have you gotten with Bryson? Have you gotten with staff? Have you said, hey, what can we do? Have you thought about this? How about we get some funds this way? Rather than driving around in different people's wards, looking at their streets, wondering who signed in the city, who hasn't signed in the city, terrorizing staff, whether they're legal or authorized or licensed, do what you were elected to do. Take care of the citizens. Stop trying to come up with conspiracy theories, and do the job you were elected to do.